Hello, I'm going to discuss the Falcon and the Winter Soldier in this video. There are spoilers, so you have been warned. This Disney Plus show takes place 6 months after the events of the Marvel movie Endgame. The two characters that the show revolves around is Sam and Bucky. And I thought this show was just beautiful at letting them shine. Those all the actors were great. The writing was fantastic in this show. What I really liked with Bucky is that Bucky's, to me, his constant, I think, obstacle he has with himself is that he can't, or at least until this show, he really wasn't able to move past Steve. He was carrying out around that little brown book Steve had all the time. He was just pretty much stuck, I think, mentally in the past. He was just constantly just thinking about what he needed to do, I guess, as far as what Steve would want him to do and what Steve would want him to do as Captain America. And I love it when Sam gently told Bucky that, he said, Steve is gone and, Bucky's in our time. He had a chance to go back with Steve during the events of Endgame and he chose not to. So, with that choice brings a different set of responsibilities or options. So Bucky, I think, started to really live finally in the present and the now in this show. I did like the moments he had with his therapist when she was talking to him about his idea of making amends wasn't really sitting down and talking to people, and that's what Bucky really needed to start getting at some point, at some time, whenever he could. He needed to start really being able to talk to people again. I did like his relationship with that old man that he went to the restaurant with, but I just felt so sad when I saw that the reason why he hung out with the old man was to sort of make amends since he killed his son when he was still under Hydra's control. And I thought when he told the old man that he killed his son, that the old man would be mad and would just say, "Get out." But he just cried, and somehow that reaction was even more heartbreaking than him being angry. I did like Bucky's date with the girl at the beginning of the show, but I knew it really wasn't going to work out when he attempted to go by to talk to the old man after his big revelation of killing the guy's son, and you saw the girl comforting the old man, and she just looks at Bucky out, and he's outside, and then he pauses and then just decides to go on. But that was okay. He started, I think, really looking at issues beyond things going on with Steve. And when he started helping out with Sam's family with the boat and getting people to come over and help with the boat, I was like, okay, he's starting to finally think about things just beyond the Captain America mantle. Thank goodness. The Sam's had, I think, a different journey to go through than Bucky. One of the things I think was happening was I think he was kind of clashing with his sister a little bit because I think she was a widow, if I understand correctly. She had been the one financially, I think, paying the bills on the boat, the house, her two boys. I mean, she had been pretty much keeping everything together while Sam was off doing things with the Avengers, and then he comes in, and I don't think he was really trying to tell her what to do, but I think all his intentions were he wanted to help, but we all have a what we have to ask it the person that we want to help is how can I best support you, and sometimes that means listening and just not doing what we think is best to be helpful. The other thing I really liked about Sam that I didn't really realize till I watched this show, but he never took the serum like Steve did to become Captain America. He just was his plan was just to use gadgets like his Falcon suit till that broke during the show, and then he just worked out and made sure he was in tip top shape. But the fact that he said no to using a serum that could have given him like an upgrade to be a super soldier was amazing. And I think Zemo, the former Hydra scientist that he and Bucky broke out, even said that. He said, "You are like one in a million to say no to this. Most people would just take it without thinking and they would become corrupted by the serum." And he did mention that Steve was rare and that he didn't become corrupted by it. But Steve was one in a million, and most everyday people that took the serum had just negative side effects in the long run, like what was seen with Carly and her a group of friends. And I did like Sam's conversation with Isaac when Isaac was talking about why he didn't want to be Captain America. He just felt he would never be accepted by the public. And that just had me thinking how I think as I never really paid much attention to the Captain America comics as a kid or anything, but I think Captain America was always traditionally shown as a white guy. And when Isaac said the public will never accept a black man as Captain America, I was thinking, wow, historically that's probably how it had always been. And for Sam to just I think he was such a good listener. He heard Isaac's story of how he had been to hell and back. He had been in prison. He had, done his time serving his country, and all Isaac wanted to do was be left alone. And Sam was able to respect that, but he wasn't going to let Isaac's choices of not being Captain America affect the rest of his life. I thought Sam's sister was a great sounding board in asking him, well, what do you want to do? And I loved the ending when Sam came to get Isaac and his grandson, and they finally saw, I guess, Isaac got the recognition that was long overdue, and getting his own exhibit at a museum. I thought the scenes that hit a little close to home in this series was when you saw Sam and Bucky arguing, I think in the neighborhood right after I think they were done meeting with Isaac outside his house. The police came and assumed that Sam was the one that was being an aggressor with Bucky. And how many times has it been that we've seen in the news or the media that the police always assumes that a black person is at fault more than a white person? It's something that I don't think was really talked about much until this year and possibly last year, that there are just things that really need to change. And this show was so good at tapping into things that have been going on currently that aren't good and that that really do need to be changed. Now, the other thing that just I blew me away with the writing on this show was Zemo and Sharon. Sharon turned out to be the power broker, which I did not see coming. I was thinking that when she was a little bit, she sounded jaded about Steve, and when she was telling Sam and Bucky, I've been out of the country, nobody's checked on me. I could see, yeah, why she was resentful, but I didn't see that resentment leading to her becoming the power broker. But when you step back and look at it, I was like, oh, well, it was it made sense because she had helped Steve out during the events of the Winter Soldier movie, and then she was exiled from the United States. She couldn't talk to her family. Nobody checked on her to see if she was okay, and she had to resort to crime as a way to make a living. And now she could have maybe done something else as a job, but she had to do something to make profit. And the and it was very sad to see, like, at the ending credits. I mean, I was excited for a season 2 when I saw she had gotten her position reinstated in the CIA, and I thought, okay, she's gonna continue to hold her great aunt, I think Peggy Carter's legacy, and go back maybe to doing good. But then you saw she was just on the phone and was ready to just give up world secrets at the drop of a hat. So she is really shitting all over her great aunts and her family's legacy in providing service to the country. Zemo, I was thinking he was possibly going to turn out to be the power broker. But the writers were amazing in showing how you thought he was going to maybe be the bad guy, but he wasn't. He was actually very remorseful for his past crimes. And the scene where he was looking at the little tubes of the serum, I thought he was going to collect them and keep them and start, like, carrying out, like, a Hydra, I guess, I don't know, experiments in his prison or something. But that didn't happen. He smashed all of those tubes. And I thought his advice to Sam that he was going to have to kill Carly was actually, as heartbreaking as it was really realistic. Carly didn't really have any empathy. I remember with was it Walker and Lamar? I love those two guys as friends, but when she showed no remorse for killing Lamar and said his life didn't really matter, I mean, you could tell the only people she thought mattered were the people that were part of her circle that were supporting her vision for the world. Other than that, she was really just going off the deep end. I think she, at the very least, if she hadn't gotten shot and killed by Sharon, she would have done maybe time in prison for life. And I did think that was sad, though, because she could have done so much good. And this show was just beautiful and showing how we can let our past define us, or we can be in the present and move forward. And that really concludes my thoughts on this show. And with that, I'll pass.